What's going on, world? It's Work Hard Wednesday. Me, S, Mick, Killer. It's Wednesday, September 23rd. Whose birthday is it? Uncle Junior's? Is it today? If it is, I know it was either yesterday or today. Happy birthday, Uncle June. If you catch the hangout, at least you know we thinking about you. Anyways, we're just going to jump right into it with our cheat sheet. And you want to read this off? Cheat sheet?
Boost Juice, the never-ending boost. This is more than just another drink. Dare to turn your dream into reality, to inspire a generation to go further, instill confidence in oneself, and transform into a new you. Motivation, determination, and patience, strength, unity, and peace is our recipe for you to succeed. Join the movement, oostjuice.com. 20-ounce bottle, 591 milliliters, heat set Amcor PowerFlex long neck PET. Diameter 2.582, width 2.582. The height of the bottle is 8.5 inches. Fluid, net weight in fluid, 619.1 grams. Gross weight fluid in bottle, 659.1 grams. The finish is 38 millimeters, and the bottle weight is 40 grams. Nutrition facts: serving size 8 fluid ounces. 60 milligrams of natural caffeine per 8 fluid ounces, 150 milligrams of natural caffeine per 20 fluid ounces, 2.5 servings per container, and about 70 calories per serving, 175 total, 0 calories from fat as well. 0 grams of total fat, 0 grams of saturated fat, 0 grams trans fat, 0 milligrams of cholesterol, 0 milligrams of sodium, 17 grams of total carbohydrates per serving, 42.5 total, and it puts the daily percent value or daily value at 6% per serving, 15 total. 0 grams dietary fiber, 16 grams of sugar per serving, 40 total. 0 grams of protein, 2% vitamin A, percent total, 2% calcium, 5% total, 8% vitamin C, 20% total, 0% iron as well. Ingredients: Ooze Juice consists of apple juice base, mango base, pineapple juice, noni juice extract, tropical banana, and tropical banana. Our mission is to make the consumer feel as if they have invested in a lifestyle, rather than just spending their hard-earned money on just another drink. Our target market is Polynesian people at first because of knowledge of origins, and then the masses, which include teens, adults, athletes, workers, entertainers, basically everyone from the ages 15 to 35. A couple benefits: apple juice reduces bad cholesterol levels, enhances the cardiovascular health of a person. The risk of getting heart disease is reduced significantly due to this. And it's also helpful for weight loss. Couple from mango juice, it improves memory and concentration. It helps prevent mental weakness. It combats poor digestion and acidity, and is very effective for liver disorders, and is also rich in vitamin A, which is good for your eyesight. Pineapple juice contains the enzyme bromeliad, a natural anti-inflammatory that encourages the healing of bruises and swelling in the body. Bromeliad can also help reduce arthritis, postoperative swelling, and also promotes good digestion by helping the body break down proteins. And it also helps the body metabolize fats and absorb iron. Noni juice extract, protection against the development of cancer, also exhibits anti-tumor properties. It is an immune booster and is considered one of the most nutritious fruits. Many of its nutrients are known to stimulate the immune system. It's also considered a digestive stimulant, traditionally used as a laxative. And noni has also been found to be 75% more effective as morphine sulfate in relieving pain without the toxic side effects. Taro is a root vegetable which is grown in semi-tropical climates. Taro has a low GL or a low glycemic index, and a low GL means that taro affects blood sugar levels slowly without the peaks and crashes of a high GL, which can lead to increased hunger later on. And eating a diet of low GL foods can help prevent diabetes. Tropical bananas contain good amounts of antioxidants, minerals, and vitamins. They help replenish energy and revitalize the body instantly. And the vitamin C in tropical banana helps the body develop resistance against infectious agents and scavenge harmful oxygen-free radicals. Orange juice also has malic acid, which is an organic compound that is made by all living organisms, contributes to the pleasantly sour taste of fruits, and is used as a food additive as well. We have natural caffeine in orange juice as well, which comes from the raw Arabica coffee bean, which is considered to make milder, less bitter coffee. It is the Adam and Eve of coffee beans and is grown in Ethiopia as well as 70 other equatorial countries. Pectin with corn syrup solids is a gelling agent which we use as a stabilizer in our juice, and it gives you an excellent mouthfeel with taste. Consumers give you an yeah, we don't even have it in there anymore. So basically,
all right, so we got that out the way, and then if you guys recall last week, what we wanted to do was, you know, just heed to what was being said. Me personally, I went and did some research, and you know, just got to thinking about certain things that we've done in the past, and that we kind of fell from those things, or just kind of let them go by the wayside. But we do need to bring them back, because in my research, what I found is it just keeps on bringing us back to what we've come across. And because we came across this information at an early stage in our venture, and we tend to overlook it because we're looking for new information. And this has happened so many times throughout the journey already, where we're just saying, what next? And, you know, it ends up being what next is what the information that we already had. And what we've been doing is what we need to continue to do. And I think we all need to digest that, like fully digest that and take it in. When you're creating something, when you're building something from the ground up, a business from the ground up, the systems and the processes, yes, they may seem, you may get bored, or you may seem like, you know, like we become stagnant, or it gets old and whatnot. But you have to, like, we have to remember to remind ourselves on a regular basis that we have to be the ones that press the refresh button. And what I mean by that is McDonald's, we're just going to bring up McDonald's. McDonald's, they've been flipping burgers for how long now? And you don't think that they did, you know, that they didn't face the same things that we did, like that we're facing early on? Hell yeah, they did. Gatorade, Red Bull, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, all these major corporations that are there, they've all experienced what we're going through. Those early on, whoever were the members early on, they seen what we're seeing today. But you know what? They had to continue to remind themselves that even through the same systems and processes, even though we're continuing to build our company up, that's what it's going to take for us to get there. And we can't, like, we have to lose that thought of it being boring, it being old, it being stale. We have to be the ones that refresh it. When we do samplings, when we service accounts, find that joy in you being able to do that. You know why? Because there's a lot of other companies that aren't experienced what we get to experience it each and every day. Those companies have closed up, and they're probably on to something new. But yet we're still here after 2 years. We're heading into our third year come next June. But look at what we still get a shot at this. And remember, like, it's a reminder, consistent basis, what we're doing here, yes, it's routine. It gets routine, but it's work. I mean, if you think about every other job that you worked, what did you do? If you worked for a few years, you were doing the same thing over and over and over, and there's no difference what we're doing here. You know, we're in the early stages. We need to understand that. We need to understand that the only way that we're going to continue to be able to ride this thing out and journey and take this trip is through the reminding that every day that we get to do this, our spirits should be renewed. Our love for this game should be there. You think Michael Jordan was, he went into the gym and said, "Man, I'm tired of shooting free throws." You think he said that? Hell nah. He shot even more free throws. You know why? Because he wanted to be the best on the court, not only in practice, but when game time came. And he made it. You think, when an athlete has played 10, 15, 20 years in sports, you think they said, "Man, I'm tired of this"? Hell nah. You're not going to last if you're playing that long, 10, 20, 15 years, 10, 15, 20 years, if you didn't renew your joy each and every day because you know what you're trying to do. You know that you're here to get a job done. We're here to get this job done in the beverage industry. We're here to make our way. We're here to understand that, man, like the days of us being bored and having those thoughts in our mind, those days should be over. You know why? Is because like it really is like everything that we preach, all the quotes that we've come across where it says, I don't know if you guys seen that one quote where there was two people on the bus and one had he was looking out and it was sunny. It was sunny outside. The other dude, he was looking out the other side and it was raining. And the purpose of that visual quote was it's up to you. Like you have the choice to make the day either sunshine or you're drowning in your sorrows and rain and you want to throw pity parties because whatever the case may be. But like I said, man, let's get those thoughts out of our heads quick, fast, because if we don't, well, they'll consume us. They'll consume us and take that joy from us. And I don't want that to happen. We got to nip it in the bud first, like right when we catch it. At first, I didn't know, I was like, okay, man, what is this really about? And then I had to remind myself is like we get the choice and we get the decision to make for what we feel each and every day. This thing that we're doing here is about love. We wouldn't be here if we didn't love what we're doing. So we have to remind ourselves, man, I love what I do, and I want to continue to do this. And if I want to continue to do this, shit, Michael Jordan put in the time and the work, and he is where he is. All these major corporations, they put in the time and the work and the effort, and they're there where they are now. Oosh Juice LLC, we need to put in that time. We need to respect this game. We need to respect this journey. We need to respect the one who has sent us on this journey, because if we believe in him to lead us to our promised land, and he has set us specifically for this venture, then we need to say, man, thank you each and every day. Thank you for this opportunity. I get to do what I love to do. All right, so that's the first thing that I just want to bring to the light. Let's get rid of that. Let's just get rid of it. I mean, we can't have that. We can't have those feelings anymore, because like all the things that we talked about last week, it just got me to thinking. It's like, why are we so programmed to work for a company for years? We're so programmed to work for a company for years, and we dread those, whatever. We can either feel a certain way, and we like either you dread the job and you're still going, and just because you're getting the check, and that's whatever it is. Why are we so programmed to do that for so long, and then like we're doing something for ourselves and future generations to come, and yet we're already like, damn, man, this kind of boring. This is old, it's stale, but that's because we're making it. Like we need to find it in ourselves to bring out that freshness, that life, because this is what the journey is about. It's about life. if we talk about bringing out the greatest version of ourselves, then each and every day, yeah, it's a struggle, but each and every day we should be pumping out life into our company, life into ourselves, taking steps and continuing to build on it, and not taking steps backwards. Because that's what I feel like when we make certain comments like that, or we feel certain ways, that really hurts us as a company. We don't look at it. I mean, we're going to continue to do our thing, and we don't even really think about it like that. But in all actuality, it does, because we're allowing these thoughts that don't need to be there. We're allowing them in, and we need to cancel those thoughts out. Because look, here goes the thing: if we feel this way, right, we're just setting ourselves up to just go back to work for somebody. I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to go back to work for nobody. I really don't. And thus the point that I make: renew yourself each and every day. Renew yourself for the grind. Renew your spirits. Renew your joy. If you can't find it, ask him. He's going to give it to you. Some days, yeah, they're low, but we need to continue to pump life in this thing. We need to continue to be positive about where we're headed with this. And we need to continue to move forward with positivity, optimism. We don't need antagonism. We don't need negativity. We need to stay true to what this foundation was built on. And it was a trust with that dude up there. So that's what I want to get into your minds. You know, I started thinking about, when I started thinking about everything that was said last week, and I said, okay, we found that out. All right, now let's get back to information. What are we lacking the most? Well, everything that was stated, we're lacking more information. Information is key, right? When we were back in when we were grinding this thing out early on, it was information. After it was information. It's feeding us. We're hungry. S put out a text today. You know, like we all know, everything happens for a reason. Whether it's something like physical, or something with it that's thrown out there as far as quotes of the day. These things they all happen for a reason, and I don't believe any otherwise. Like, why would he just throw this out there today? And I just really want to go over it because it was that powerful, and we come across these gems when we're doing this, and that's why we have to remain consistent throughout the rest of this year. I don't know how much I can stress how powerful these quotes are, but he says, "Thank God it's Wednesday." Quote of the day comes from Woodrow Wilson. "We should not only use the brains we have, but all that we can borrow. We can learn not only from ourselves, but everyone and everything around us. Stay in position of learning." My Usos, blessed day to all. Guap till we drop. Stay in the position of learning. That's we kind of got off track because I think we fed ourselves so much information early on, and we were just like so fired up, and then we're just like, oh damn, and then you start to fall off, and then you're just like, damn, well, what's missing here? And it was the learning part of it all. So we have to get back to the learning. I started reading a little bit more. I'm getting back into my better habits. Okay, I started getting back into the healthy habits of feeding my mind. Just because, like I said, if we don't communicate, how you think I'm going to go back? It's like you keep on. It's a slippery slope, and you keep on falling deeper and deeper because nobody is communicating what you should work on. Well, look what happens when you guys tell me in my face, "Hey, man, this is what we're thinking about. This is what is on our mind." Then that makes me want to act. That makes me want to get back into, okay, well, if we're lacking here, well, I need to read some stuff. You know, whether it's a little bit here or there, I need to feed my mind. I need to learn. I need to continue on that path of learning, because if information got us to this point, then what do you think information is gonna or how do you think we're gonna get to our destination? It's through information. The information is the missing link to why there are super successful entrepreneurs and then there are just average average entrepreneurs. And that's the missing link. So I want to share 2 videos with you guys, and then we're just going to do one thing after the videos that we just thought of, like on today, just because of all the talking that we did amongst ourselves when we had a meeting pretty much earlier today for a few hours, sat with the sales team and Kiela about some of the things that I want all of us to understand. And not only that, but moving forward, like what we should be, what our mindset should be, what we should be thinking about. But these 2 videos really helped me within these past few days to give you guys a better sense of direction, because direction was key. And then not only that, but ownership. Ownership is big as for what we are doing here. And so I'm going to throw out the first video real quick. And remember, I want to stay true to what we discussed this year. Really condensing the meetings. Last week, it was necessary. We went a few hours, almost 3 hours, I think it was. But this week, we want to get back into it because we got to make this thing consistent, and we got to keep those 30-minute slots because time is precious, and we want to hit you where you're not overwhelmed and you just don't want to, you didn't get the meat of what you needed to get, right? We want to hit you with the meat so that you can run with it and you feel good and you feel excited and you feel ready to move. But we don't want to drown you in so much that you just, oh man, I'm kind of worn out because I was drowned. But here goes the first video right here. And it's just something that this is what I want to bring back to the table too. Remember how everybody just used to be catching things like, hey man, we should check out this video. And then we would bring it here. Why did we stop? Well, we started being lazy. That's one thing. We started being lazy with bringing this information to the table. Now we got to get back to bringing this information because it's key and it's going to help us throughout our journey because it's encouragement to us going out and doing things that most of the population is never going to attempt to do. So let's start this off. It's only about 2 minutes and 35 seconds, and it's called entrepreneurship. You have to be willing to sacrifice all of your selfish needs. So there's a couple key words in there: willing, sacrifice, and willing, sacrifice all. And then your selfish needs. Those are the standouts. Those are the words that you should be looking at as. And so here we go.
To speak this conversation and to make this real, I'll say it again. Despite what you've been told, entrepreneurship is actually not for everybody. Now, I may be the only one who's willing to actually talk this truth, to speak this conversation and to make this real, but I'll say it again, entrepreneurship, it's not for everybody. Now that doesn't mean you're a good person, you're a bad person, you're healthy, you're unhealthy, you're going to be rich, you're going to be poor. It just means that the fight, the battle, the war that you have to endure on a daily basis to be an entrepreneur and a successful one at that is not easy. It requires that you find motivation when nobody else is motivated around you. It requires that you dig deep and find passion when nobody around you is passionate. That you find inspiration when nobody around you is inspired. That you continue to want to follow your dreams and follow your destiny when nobody can see what your dream is or understand where you're going. It means that you have to stick and stay, to work to find the words to speak your message when nobody understands it, because people they will question it. And they won't understand what you're saying at first because it's not their dream, it's yours. You have to be willing to sacrifice all of your selfish needs to make sure that your clients and your customers get served at the highest level, that your team eats before you do, that your team gets paid before you do, that your team has what they need before you do. I'm not saying it'll be easy. I'm not saying it'll be some let's eat cotton candy, hold hands, and run through a field of flowers. But what I am telling you, that if you are cut for this, if you are made for this, if you were designed and born to be a hunter, to go out there and create things out of thin air, if you were born to go out and manifest ideas from your brain and turn them into something real, like this Range Rover right here, or this watch that I have on, or some sort of an opportunity, if that's you, if you were chosen, if you were born for that, I just want to tell you that it won't be easy. It will not be easy. It may be the hardest thing that you ever do. There may be obstacles and challenges that you run into that try to convince you to quit. And some of you will. But those of you who don't will be rewarded in a way that's beyond your wildest dreams. That, I promise. I'll see you at the top.
That just came on. Like, yeah, a couple of days, I think on Monday. So that, I mean, that right there, it just came on. Hey, what does it come down to? It comes down to us. It comes down to that renewed spirit each and every day, no matter how hard it is, no matter how hard it gets. That dude just put it all out there. This ain't for everybody. But for the few that really want to take this journey head on, I mean, you guys can't tell me, like, man, okay. To me, like, it's not about money. Like, it really isn't. I mean, money is going to help us do so many great things. But to me, I talked to Gela about this. 5 years. I'm looking at 10 years. I'm looking at 10 years, right? 5 years. 5 years, where was I? 5 years now, where am I today? And I look back and I say to myself, wow, I've come a long way. I can only imagine what the next 5 years is going to look like. And a lot of people, they can't say that. A lot of people ain't made it to where I've gotten to. You know why? Because their mind wouldn't allow them to. But I allowed myself to be open to certain things that could get me in a position where I feel so much growth as a person. And I feed off of that, because I'm saying to myself, damn, man, this journey that we've taken on head on, it's taught me so much about myself personally, so much growth in such a short amount of time, that I can only imagine what the next 5, 10, 15 years of just staying in position to learn, staying in position to soaking up information. That's why it's so important that we don't lose sight of the information part of it all. We continue to stay in the trenches, getting that research, looking at videos like this, bringing information to the table, communicating effectively with one another, continuing to stay the course and stay in position with learning. That's what we want to do, because all the other things, they're going to come along. They're going to come. But the feeling that I get from growth, oh man, it's unexplainable. Like, and I know you guys have to feel where I'm coming from, because you guys have grown so much as well. If we're going to play 5 and 5 with and you put yourself in the equation, you guys can't tell me that you don't feel what I feel. I mean, and I see it every day. Maybe you guys don't feel it the same way I do, like to a certain extent. But for me, from the outside looking in on each and every one of your lives and how much the steps that you've taken to get to where you are today, that's why I feel we've all made a dramatic and drastic change for the better. And we've affected not only ourselves and our circle, but so many other people around us because of what we were looking for, information. That's all we were seeking. Let's get back on track for this information hype and stay on the course. Yeah, we'll get weary, we'll get tired at sometimes, but never lose sight of how powerful information is and will be for us as we continue to move forward on our journey. Take a look at that again if you need to. And like I said, man, keep on bringing things like this to the table, because these are the hidden gems that we used early on in our journey so often. We use it so often that kept that flame, that kept us going, that gave us that motivation, that inspiration that we were looking for. It was things like this. We hear from each other. That's one thing. But when you hear from someone else, he didn't say nothing new. He just put it in a different way of saying it that allowed us to receive it in such a way where we're saying, wow, I'm feeling pretty good about myself, man. I'm ready to go the next 5 years. You know, I'm ready to go the next 10 years. I'm ready. Let's go. And that's why it's so important that we catch little things like this and bring it to the table. So that is the first video I wanted to show you. This next one is a little bit longer. It's about 10 minutes. And I really want you guys, it goes pretty fast, but I really want you guys to catch this because it's visual. And it brings me to my last point that I will make after this, but let's get right to this because it's 10 minutes long. And try to catch everything that you can. And certain things that you don't catch, like we always say, go back, watch the Hangout, and take it all in. But here goes this one. It's called Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us. You know, when I was thinking about last week and I said, dang, why do we lose so much motivation? Why is, in that, you know, that first video, he was talking about, man, you got to be motivated when nobody else is motivated. You got to be inspired when nobody else in the room is inspired. And then it led me to this video right here. Like, how do I keep my employees motivated every single day? How do I do that? And I caught this video right here. There's so many more. And, you know, there's so many more out there, but this one, it kind of rubbed me the right way, I should say. And that's why I wanted to bring it to the table tonight. So here it goes. Drive, the surprising truth about what motivates us.
Our motivations are unbelievably interesting. I mean, I've been working on this for a few years, and I just find the topic still so amazingly engaging and interesting. So I want to tell you about that. The science is really surprising. The science is a little bit freaky, okay? We are not as endlessly manipulable and as predictable as you would think. There's a whole set of unbelievably interesting studies. I want to give you two that call into question this idea that if you reward something, you get more of the behavior you want. If you punish something, you get less of it. So let's go from London to the mean streets of Cambridge, Massachusetts, the northeastern part of the United States. And let's talk about a study done at MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Here's what they did. They took a whole group of students and they gave them a set of challenges. Things like memorizing strings of digits, solving word puzzles, other kinds of spatial puzzles, even physical tasks like throwing a ball through a hoop. Okay, they gave them these challenges and they said to incentivize their performance, they gave them 3 levels of rewards. Okay, so if you did pretty well, you got a small monetary reward. If you did medium well, you got a medium monetary reward. And if you did really well, if you were one of the top performers, you got a large cash prize. Okay, we've seen this movie before. This is essentially a typical motivation scheme within organizations, right? We reward the very top performers. We ignore the low performers and the other folks kind of in the middle. Okay, get a little bit. So what happens? They do the test. They have these incentives. Here's what they found out. 1, as long as the task involved only mechanical skill, bonuses worked as they would be expected. The higher the pay, the better their performance. Okay, that makes sense. But here's what happens. But once the task called for even rudimentary cognitive skill, a larger reward led to poorer performance. Now, this is strange, right? A larger reward led to poorer performance? How can that possibly be? Now, what's interesting about this is that these folks here who did this are all economists, 2 at MIT, 1 at the University of Chicago, 1 at Carnegie Mellon, okay? Top tier of the economics profession. And they're reaching this conclusion that seems contrary to what a lot of us learned in economics, which is that the higher the reward, the better their performance. And they're saying that once you get above rudimentary cognitive skill, it's the other way around. Which seems like this kind of, the idea that these rewards don't work that way seems vaguely left-wing and socialist, doesn't it? It's kind of this kind of weird socialist conspiracy. For those of you who have those conspiracy theories, I want to point out the notoriously left-wing socialist group that financed the research, the Federal Reserve Bank. So this is the mainstream of the mainstream coming to a conclusion that's quite surprising. It seems to defy the laws of behavioral physics. So this is strange. It's strange funding. So what do? They say, this is freaky. Let's go test it somewhere else. Maybe that $50 or $60 prize isn't sufficiently motivating for an MIT student, right? So let's go to a place where $50 is actually or significant relatively. Right? So let's take the experiment. We're going to go to Madurai, India, rural India, where $50, $60, whatever the number was, is actually a significant sum of money. So they replicated the experiment in India roughly as follows. Small rewards, the equivalent of 2 weeks' salary. Small performance, low performance, 2 weeks' salary. Medium performance, about a month's salary. High performance, about 2 months' salary. Okay, so those are real good incentives. Okay, so you're going to get a different result here. Well, what happened though was that the people offered the medium reward did no better than the people offered the small reward. But this time around, the people offered the top reward. They did worst of all. Higher incentives led to worse performance. What's interesting about this is that it actually isn't all that anomalous. This has been replicated over and over and over again by psychologists, by some extent by sociologists, and by economists, over and over and over again. For simple, straightforward tasks, those kinds of incentives, if you do this, then you get that, they're great. For tasks that are algorithmic, set of rules where you have to just follow along and get a right answer, if then rewards, carrots and sticks, outstanding. But when the task gets more complicated, when it requires some conceptual creative thinking, those kinds of motivators demonstrably don't work. In fact, money is a motivator at work, but in a slightly strange way. If you don't pay people enough, they won't be motivated. What's curious about, there's another paradox here, which is that the best use of money as a motivator is to pay people enough to take the issue of money off the table. Pay people enough so that they're not thinking about money, they're thinking about the work. Now, once you do that, it turns out there are 3 factors that science shows lead to better performance. Not to mention personal satisfaction. Autonomy, mastery, and purpose. Autonomy is our desire to be self-directed, to direct our own lives. Now, in many ways, traditional notions of management run afoul of that. Management is great if you want compliance, but if you want engagement, which is what we want in the workforce today as people are doing more complicated, sophisticated things, self-direction is better. Let me give you some examples of this, of almost radical forms of self-direction in the workplace that lead to good results. Let's start with this company right here, Atlassian, an Australian company. It's a software company, and they do something really cool. Once a quarter on a Thursday afternoon, they say to their developers, for the next 24 hours, you can work on anything you want. You can work on it the way you want. You can work on it with whomever you want. All we ask is that you show the results to the company at the end of those 24 hours in this fun kind of meeting, not a star chamber session, but this fun meeting with beer and cake and fun and other things like that. It turns out that that one day of pure undiluted autonomy has led to a whole array of fixes for existing software, a whole array of ideas for new products that otherwise had never emerged. One day. Now, this is not an if-then incentive. This is not the sort of thing that I would have done 3 years ago before I knew this research. I would have said, you want people to be creative and innovative? Give them a freaking innovation bonus. If you can do something cool, I'll give you $2,500. They're not doing this at all. They're essentially saying, you probably want to do something interesting. Let me just get out of your way. One day of autonomy produces things that had never emerged. Now, let's talk about mastery. Mastery is our urge to get better at stuff. We like to get better at stuff. This is why people play musical instruments on the weekend. You have all these people who are acting in ways that seem irrational economically. They play musical instruments on weekends. Why? It's not going to get them a mate. It's not going to make them any money. Why are they doing it? Because it's fun, because you get better at it, and that's satisfying. Go back in time a little bit. I imagine this if I went to my first economics professor, a woman named Mary Alice Schulman, and I went to her in 1983 and said, Professor Schulman, can I talk to you after class for a moment? Yeah. I got this inkling. I got this idea for a business model. I just want to run it past you. Here's how it would work. You get a bunch of people around the world who are doing highly skilled work, but they're willing to do it for free and volunteer their time, 20, sometimes 30 hours a week. Okay, she's looking at you somewhat skeptically there. Oh, but I'm not done. And then what they create, they give it away rather than sell it. It's going to be huge. But she truly would have thought I was insane. Right? It seemed to fly in the face of so many things. But what do you have? You have Linux powering 1 out of 4 corporate servers in Fortune 500 companies, Apache powering more than the majority of web servers, Wikipedia. What's going on? Why are people doing this? Why are these people, many of whom are technically sophisticated, highly skilled people who have jobs? Okay? They have jobs. They're working at jobs for pay, doing sophisticated technological work. And yet, during their limited discretionary time, they do equally, if not more, technically sophisticated work, not for their employer, but for someone else for free. That's a strange economic behavior. Economists who look into it, why are they doing this? It's overwhelmingly clear. Challenge and mastery, along with making a contribution. That's it. What you see more and more is a rise of what you might call the purpose motive. Is that more and more organizations want to have some kind of transcendent purpose, partly because it makes coming to work better, partly because that's the way to get better talent. And what we're seeing now is, in some ways, when the profit motive becomes unmoored from the purpose motive, bad things happen. Bad things ethically sometimes, but also bad things just like not good stuff, like crappy products, like lame services, like uninspiring places to work. That when the profit motive is paramount, or when it becomes completely unhitched from the purpose motive, it just, people don't do great things. More and more organizations are realizing this and sort of disturbing the categories between what's profit and what's purpose. And I think that actually heralds something interesting. And I think that the organizations that are flourishing, whether they're profit, for profit, or somewhere in between, are animated by this purpose model. Let me give you a couple of examples. Here's the founder of Skype. He says, our goal is to be disruptive, but in the cause of making the world a better place. Pretty good purpose. Here's Steve Jobs. I want to put a ding in the universe. All right? That's the kind of thing that might get you up in the morning and racing to go to work. So I think that, that we are purpose maximizers, not only profit maximizers. I think the science shows that we care about mastery very, very deeply. And the science shows that we want to be self-directed. And I think that the big takeaway here is that if we start treating people like people and not assuming that they're simply horses, slower, smaller, better smelling horses, if we get past this kind of ideology of carrots and sticks and look at the science, I think we can actually build organizations and work lives that make us better off. But I also think they have the promise to make our world just a little bit better.
And there you go. I mean, I know it was pretty fast, as far as because they were trying to get a lot across within that 10-minute span. And then, that's why I say go back and watch it, because there's so many things that you can draw from just, the visuals and then the information that he's passing along. When I think about that, and it just, like I said, it led me to other YouTube videos that I watched. But I mean, I don't know what you guys took away from that, but it spoke to me in such a way where like our purpose, like getting back to understanding, okay, like when we do feel at times like, man, it's just boring, or it's repetitive and it just becomes stale, then you got to remind yourself of your why. You got, like we talked about, you got to remind yourself of your why, your purpose, what your mission is, like the mission at hand is. Because the studies itself right there, like we're thinking like, oh, and we've done this ourselves. Like hey man, the top sellers, we've done the incentive programs with our stores, and we say, hey man, you guys sell a certain amount, and we say if it's easy enough for them, like how he put it out there, where it's just simple task, and here goes right here, you're directed, and the better performance. But if it takes any type of skills, then people just be like, oh man, they kind of like and you get, like we've seen it personally firsthand with being able to direct people in such a way where they're moving 70 cases a month, and then seeing like other people that are not so easily directed, where they're just saying, it's too much work for me. We've seen it. We've seen it. Like we've seen throughout our existence as a company, working with these retailers, working with these employees coming in on a regular basis, and just trying to explain to them what we're looking for out of them and what they're going to receive in return. A lot of these people that helped us to get to this point and helped us move so much product is because they felt the purpose, and they felt like they were part of the purpose, like they had a purpose for coming into work. Like, just like they said, it's like, man, when you allow them to do what they do, and you just give them a few key things, what's going to happen? They're going to go crazy, all in the name of purpose. You know, they feel part of it. The 3 things that they broke down, I mean, it's just amazing how, like, how we're so programmed to think one way, and then they just come flip the script on us and just say, nah, it's different. And statistics show that. The science proves it. I mean, there are people out there that are given 20, 30 hours of their free time. They got jobs that pay them well, but because they want to be challenged, right? They're looking for the thrill of the challenge, and they want to become better at something. They want to mastery, right? They want to master something that is not in their lane, but yet they're giving up their time. They're giving up for free. They don't want nothing in return, and then they're giving the product away for free, which is, I would say that their time. I mean, that's the product for them. Like, man, being able to not only challenge themselves in such a way that they went down a different lane and was able to be the top at the top level with that, but just contributing. The whole contributing factor. Like, we contribute so much of our time, our energy, our effort. We're doing that on a regular basis. We have everyday jobs, right? We're doing that too. And we kind of fit in that because we want to master, not only are we trying to master the beverage industry, but we want to master security, and we want to master music, and we want to master plumbing. We're trying to do all these little things, you know, and I kind of feel like we take on that, you know, that role of mastery, wanting to become more, wanting to be great at things, and all around. And it wakes us up. It motivates us. It wakes us up in the morning to want to go out there and to perform at a high level, and do the things that we know we can do. And like I said, man, there was so much information on the breakdown of just the incentives part, because the reason why I looked at that, I also caught my attention is like how we do incentives with our stores, and not only that, but trying to implement certain things when we get going to that level as well. We understand now. We can look at this and say we understand the science of sometimes it ain't, you know, the person who does the best, you get the most. That's not how it works. And that's what they just said. So, man, I mean, if there are certain ways to break it down where you could get the most out of a person, and the way that society has programmed or trained us to believe it is, we need to change that whole mindset as well. And it doesn't like the whole thing is this thing is, it's not going to happen overnight. Trust and believe that it's not. It just doesn't happen like that. Just like when we were up on Maxwell Maltz, you know, the prison of the mind, trying to unlock it. Look, we're here today, and some of us are still imprisoned in some way, shape, or form in our mind about certain things that we don't see physically. You know, how we always talk about when I believe it, or how the world puts it, I believe it when I see it. And we're trying to reprogram our minds to say, I see it, therefore I believe it. Some of us are still trapped in that prison of, I believe it when I see it. We're still trying to get over that. So it doesn't happen overnight. Trust and believe that it doesn't. I mean, it's a process. It takes time. But what I want to get at, like, what's my next thing that I want to get at that led into this was ownership. It's like when I watched this other video, it talked about ownership, and I talked to these guys earlier about it. You know, when we assign each and everybody had the opportunity to go after what they felt they could contribute the best, they could play their part, their role. We all had that opportunity, and then we were placed in those specific areas for this company. And you know, the one thing that you know, that I think about now is we all took ownership. And what I mean by that is we really said, man, this is what I want to do. This is where I feel I can contribute, and therefore I'm going to take a stand. What did I'm going to replay it. I told you guys a while back that I give you guys authorization to make moves as if you were the boss. I want you guys to program your mind to believe in that, because you know what happens when people take ownership? They take a sense of pride. Now it's, you know, what if X me out this equation, right? X me out the equation. Who's the next one that's going to step up? And that's the reason why I preach, or I try to get across to you guys, and I emphasize why you need to take ownership in the position, in the role that you play today, whether it's in sales. What would you do? Like I was telling these guys earlier, I said, man, you guys really need to make calls. I mean, really make decisions on your own. Like you're the boss and you're here to handle business. And you know what? I know this what Boog would do. And the reason why I say that is because, like I said, man, somebody's gonna have to take on that ownership that we're looking for in order for us to get to the heights that we desire to be. Because when you do take on that ownership, then you're making calculated decisions based on if you were running the company. How would you run the company? If I wasn't running the company, how would you run the company differently? What would you do? I'm asking questions like this because I believe in the power of feedback. I believe in the power of somebody communicating and being vocal with what they're seeing out of their eyes and from their perspective. I believe in the power of, like what he just said, like, man, not treating people as if they're just horses and we're just riding them out, but treating people with the same level of respect, treating people with that, letting them know that we're on the same playing field. There's nobody higher than one another, but we're all trying to go there together. And how do we do that? Well, we have to grow each other, and we have to make each other understand and have that confidence and belief in ourselves to take on the ownership role. So what we did was what I told sales to do. Like, it's a bold move. It's a bold move to really try to take that on. I get it. Some people are not ready for it. Just like the other guy says, some people are not ready for entrepreneurship, but we got to be real with it. We got to be real to ourselves. When we're talking about this, are we ready? You know, are we ready for that? Can we handle that responsibility? Or do we need to be directed? Because there's two options here. You can be you can have that owner mentality, or you can just say, I'm kind of not, I'm kind of not ready for that yet. I need to just have someone just continue to direct me and just continue to lead me. It's the flip of the coin. We don't know which one you are, which personality that you have, but we're going to find out. We're going to get to the bottom of it, and it comes down to you expressing how you feel. I talked to Keller about this as well earlier, and I told him, as far as marketing is concerned, I need you to take more ownership. And I didn't explain it well enough because he thought I was talking about, man, taking back ownership of marketing and all that. And I was like, oh, no, not that way. But taking ownership as far as what you love to do. Like if you want to capture, like we'll just put photography and videography. We'll put that. We'll use that as an example because he has a gift that we can use at this moment in time that he can be able to have that ownership where he's, hey, man, I can be as creative as I want. I can make the calls and the decisions because he already said it. I give you authorization to make those moves. What did that guy say? He said, man, when they had their company, they do it every year. They give them 24 hours. There's beer, there's food, there's, and whatever is involved. All these things involved, but they allow them to do what they want to do within those 24 hours as long as they show results. We're given this, it's like, okay, they allow one day. Like we're so early on in our company where we're still trying to find our way and we're trying to find how these pieces work to the puzzle. Well, we're saying, you know what? Well, what if we just keep on failing? Oh, and then we just success. Because that's all it is. We're giving that much to all our team members. We're giving that much ownership where you're so focused in on how to grow that particular part of the company. And I talked with him about it, and then he got it. He's like, oh, okay. Because what does that allow you to do? Your your creativeness is going to overflow, and you're going to say, hey, man, I think we should try this one out right now. And I go back to what S has said last week. Threw out so many ideas all the time, and they just get shot down. And then I was talking to these guys earlier. I said, damn, what if we just use all those ideas? like, man, and just keep on failing often. I mean, but smart failing, you know, not just like, oh man, we're just going to keep on throwing money away all the time, but no, but actually following through with what's being put out on the table and just actually trying, you know, just trying it to see what happens. Because what's going to happen is we're going to learn a lot quicker than us being cautious about certain things. And then next thing you know, that idea is just lost forever. And then we never got to explore it. But that right there, that's number one, ownership. Here goes the three things that I want you guys to understand. I told Keller this earlier. I said, man, we talk about direction. We need more of a sense of direction. But here goes what we have to understand and keep in mind. This is what you have to keep right in the front, right here. We know our mission, right? Our mission. We want to motivate and inspire people. As far as for marketing, even with sales. I mean, this is just as a company as a whole. We know our mission, right? We know what direction that we're headed in. We know what this foundation was built on. Who are we looking for? We're looking for the health conscious consumer, right? We're promoting a health product, and then on a deeper level, we're promoting daring to turn a dream into reality. All those three things right there. If you look at everything that we've done in social media, I mean, we've pretty much went from the top where we're just like, man, we don't, you know, we're not trying to force anything on you, but this is what we believe in. This is who's got us this far. And then we promoted that side, and then we went all the way down where, you know, we're pushing the limits. We're like, double tap if you hit that, and we're talking about the ooze, and you know, we've pushed the limits because we've had people, some of our posts stir up some things in people where they're feeling a certain way, which is we got what we wanted, which was a reaction. But we've pushed it from the top to the bottom, whatever you want to call it. It's all marketing. We're trying to appeal. We're trying to keep it fresh. We're trying to keep it new. We're trying to see what is working out there. And obviously, because we still have engagement, well, we're doing something right, and it's working. It's working. So as far as maybe I lost, or we got lost along the way about understanding our direction, more a sense of a direction. And I don't think, I think it was just we had to put it back in its place. Like our sense of direction, when we talk about that, where we're headed, like those three things that we have to keep in mind. Whatever we're doing as far as what we want to run as a certain time, that's where the ownership part comes into play. And that's where we're telling ourselves that we're the boss of what we got into. And we're saying, hey, man, check this out. I want to run this right now, or I want to do this video. I got the script made. I want to go out here at this specific time. I want to let's put together a post so that we can get the promotional girls, or let's see if there's any videographers or photographers out there that want to be shooters for us. We're listing everything out because why? We took ownership and we thought like a boss would think, because of the position that we want. We called for this position. The positions that we're in right now, we called for those positions because we all wrote an email, and I still have them today, of us going after certain things because we believed that's where we could be used the most and be beneficial to our company with the talents and the gifts that we have. So that's where, let's refresh our memories once again. Understand, let's act like we know how to act. Let's start doing things in such a way where we're we believe we're all bosses, and we start acting like bosses. We start really putting on that suit and tie, not literally, but really put on that suit and tie, and just understand, I bring value to this table. I add something that can really, that's why I'm here. My purpose is here I'm here for a reason, because I have a purpose. I'm not just coming to these meetings for nothing. I'm not just going out there making deliveries for nothing. I'm not just talking about this company for nothing, but I really have something to offer. And you know what that says? That says you're a boss. Because you're not just going to go in and just tell any random person about a company if you weren't a boss. You're not just going to hand out a business card if you weren't a boss. You're not just going to say, hey, man, check out my website if you weren't a boss. I could go on and on. But we have to remind ourselves of who we are and why we were put in this group to lead this movement. So remember, always keep those three things: health-conscious consumer, healthy product. We're motivating and inspiring others to turn their dream into reality. Dare to turn their dream into reality. In the marketing world, this is our ownership. This is our sense of self-direction, where we really have we really have like an open, it's like open mic night, where we have the opportunity to get up there and showcase our talents on a regular basis and display what we were given. And we're going to put it all out there. It's not just like the 24 hours that company does, but it's on a regular basis. And like I said, some people are not ready for that. Some people need more of self-direction as compared to, nah, I want to play this ownership role because, man, this is my personality. And that's why we have to communicate which one are we. So with that being said, this is the last part of this meeting. Last part of this meeting, and we're gonna end it in a way that just we just thought about it right before the meeting. But the reason why we're doing this is for not only for our journey and the purpose of capturing this on live on the Hangout, but also what we want to do with certain material that we're going to put together in the near future with all of us involved. So I'm going to pass it to Kella.
As far as doing on here, it's going to take like
an hour for what? To ask the questions?
I'm going to ask you and questions.
No, we're just doing them one at a time.
Yeah.
It takes an hour for each person?
No, I'm just saying, as far as for what I'm asking you, it's going to take.
No, we're doing one person. One person. Next week, we'll throw on the next person. We're just capturing like that.
Oh, I didn't.
Because it's.
Only people I did it for was making pie, was making a video for sales, and then as we do in person, like just give the backstory and stuff.
So what? Do you want to set it up for next week or?
No, we don't even need to do it on the Hangout. That's what I'm saying.
All
we do is get the audio and stuff.
Yeah,
all right. That's just gonna be sitting there like, okay.
All right. Oh well, my bad. I thought it was something else, but I mean that's pretty much our time right here. If you guys have anything else to say, feel free. Like I said, I just wanted to hit it real quick. Skeet, get on, but.
Live and direct, huh? In and out.
Already messing up the identity. See, you was journeying down that way.
we already. Those are the clips, the unedited version. Oh man. But thank you guys for your time. Like I said, man, at the end of the day, man, we all jokesters, we clowns, but when it comes down to business, we handle it. We do our thing. I mean, it wouldn't be us if we didn't keep our same personality and our jokes. But yeah, feel free. I mean, if you guys have anything to say, and then we get on our separate ways. I mean, I just felt that it was. I just feel good when you guys talk to me because it makes me feel alive. When it's quiet, I feel like, okay, what the hell's going on? And that was the importance of last week. And we need more of this. Like, we need to be more vocal with each other because we know how powerful it can be when we start pushing each other, and getting each other set up to do what we know how to do. So yeah, that's my piece right there. What? 3330 Del Monte Boulevard.
Yes, shoot. As far as the video, I enjoyed it. I felt like it helped me due to the fact that it has a lot of like our struggles in there as far as things we deal with, as far as a startup company and that, and it just kind of stumps you because, like here, like I just know for myself personally, just from thinking you know it, you would think the bigger the incentive, the bigger the reward, the more productivity, the more passionate, the more committed, all of that. But as we've seen, it's not like that all the time. And we have freaking us. We have people to prove it, people who actually went to school and study patterns, study all of that. So it just shows that, like Boog said, the ball's always in our court. And when we need to get inspired, we have to inspire ourselves. If it ever gets to that point, we have to know how to inspire ourselves, and we do know how, by always going back to the basics, back to why we started, back to the foundation, and that should suffice. That should be enough to get us on track, because it was enough to get us started, you know. And our families, if they mean to us that much, our significant others, our kids, we need to get back to that fire, no matter what, because that's going to be our drive and one of the determining factors into how far we're willing to push for this. But yeah, that should it was mind blowing to just see that. And then we're visual learners, so to see him draw everything out instead of just hearing a voiceover or something, it's way more. I feel it meant a lot more and had a lot more substance. But yeah, that shit is crazy, just the whole breakdown. But mastery, that's another thing. It's just another word for ownership, you know. Mastery. We're all masters at something, or we all aspire to be masters at something. And we just got, like you said, find what we love. And if we're in the lane we love already, let's master it. Let's take ownership of it. But yeah, it was cool. I'm excited, man.
I'm excited for Thursday's sampling at Buy-Right. Got Tri-Tip Thursdays.
Shit, I want to be a boss. I don't want to be a worker. So shit. I just want to be a boss. Hell yeah, I want to be a boss. Shit.
I'll be bossing them tomorrow.
Damn.
All right. All right, cool, man. Once again, thank you guys for your time. We'll go ahead and end it out, and then we'll get on our separate ways. Father, Lord, I come to you in prayer, Lord. I thank you for another opportunity to come together on this Wednesday. There was a lot of information that was brought to the table tonight, and the thing that we want to continue to remind ourselves is just taking ownership. I mean, it's as simple as that. Like, we all have gifts, abilities, talents that we can use, and we can work it and what we got going on. And we just gotta feel confident and believe in ourselves that we have something to offer. Continue to direct us. I mean, we talk about taking the ownership role or being self-directed. There's two options that we can play, and we know that some people are. Everybody's different. We're not all gonna be. We're not all gonna have that mentality to push like an owner would push. And that's why there's owners, and that's why there's employees. That's why there's thinkers, and that's why there's workers, is because everybody's different. And that's what we're trying to figure out right now, so that we can be able to use each of these pieces more effectively. Lord, when we watch these things, like, there's nothing new that we haven't heard before, nothing new that you haven't spoken into us. We have the tools, we have what it takes, and we just got to remind ourselves that this thing is long. It's a long journey, and each and every day, the reminder that we have, like, what we have to remind ourselves is that refresh. Just hit the refresh button. No matter if you're down and out that day, just refresh. Just keep on hitting it. Keep on hitting it and getting back on that horse, because our day is going to come soon. Our day is going to come. And, I thank you for just allowing us to come together. I thank you for, the information that we received tonight. I thank you for future information that is going to come into our lives, and that we're going to implement, and we're going to apply it, and we're going to take action. Because we already know information is useless if there's no action behind it. What we seen tonight, hopefully it did a little bit of something, but we wanted to do a little bit more by doing our part and getting out there and continuing to build our beverage empire. So with that being said, Lord, I thank you for this time. I ask that you be with us all throughout the rest of the evening. I thank you for adding another year into our Uncle Junior's life. It's truly a blessing, Lord, for everything that he's done for us and our family, and he continues to lead our Ainga and sets an example as what a role model should be, what a leader should be. And, you know, we're looking up to him. You know, we're looking up to him because one day we're going to have to fill those shoes. And hopefully we all understand, and like we've been taking notes and we're ready for that day. You know, we're not expecting it anytime soon, but you know, Lord, he's been a blessing into our lives. And, you know, we just ask that you add many more vibrant and prosperous years to come for Uncle Junior, man. And with that being said, I ask that you be with us near and far throughout the rest of the night. We love you, Lord. We give you all the praise, glory, and honor for your worthy. In Jesus' name, amen. You.